Hey guys, welcome to the full moon in the sign of Aquarius. We are now officially halfway through our Cancer new moon cycle, which, if you guys remember, was a really big one. Cancer is always a new moon that sort of packs a bit of a bigger punch because it's a cardinal cycle. Aries cycles, Libra cycles, Cancer cycles, Capricorn cycles. These are our cardinal cycles each year. Cardinal energy is initiating energy. When we have cardinal activations happening, things happening in cardinal signs, this is when the action is happening. So during our cardinal cycles every single year, Cancer, Capricorn, Libra, and Aries, this is when things have a tendency of happening. And those usually also are happening kind of in alignment with our equinoxes and our solstices as well, which mark the beginnings of those seasons. Whenever the sun moves to the first degree of Cancer or Capricorn, this is when we have our solstices, and the same goes for the equinox energy when we're talking about Aries, Libra, when the sun moves to the first degree of both of those signs as well. So cardinal times of year, cardinal seasons have a tendency of having a pretty significant influence in terms of what's going on, what's transpiring. These are sort of, the cardinal directions. They mark sort of like I said, the four seasons and just more significant times of year for things starting and action happening. So we are mid one of these cardinal cycles right now, and our Cancer cycle was also a huge cycle because it was accompanied, if you guys remember, by the nodes of the moon wrapping up a year-and-a-half transit through Taurus and Scorpio, which I have been calling for the past year and a half a karmic detox process. And they moved with the new moon in Cancer into their new signs of Aries and Libra, where they will be for the next year and a half as well. So this past cardinal new moon cycle that we are halfway through right now, with the full moon that is coming through now, was not only representing one of these more action-oriented phases of the year, but was also coming into fruition in exact alignment with a new year and a half long cycle of the nodes through Aries and Libra, having a lot to do with stepping into more of a leadership era of our lives and being less susceptible to the ideas, the opinions, the pressures of groups, society, other people, and previous relationships at this point in time. So that's sort of the transition that has been underway for this past couple of weeks. Of course, this new moon, also the new moon in Cancer that we are at the midpoint of right now. A full moon is always the halfway point of any cycle. It is also, of course, the time when energy just tends to be running the highest, when we have the moon in the fullest, shining its fullest light, like really the full spectrum of energy that this planet provides for us. Of course, the moon is also associated with our feelings and our internal environment, our emotions, and this full moon particularly is happening in a relatively significant square to Jupiter, so we should have some very big feelings, and energy should be even more so expanded during this full moon phase. However, as I was saying, because we are in the midst, at the midpoint, and also the energetic climax of this very significant and transitional turning point, action-oriented new moon that we are also immersed in right now, it sort of goes without saying that this full moon is also likely to sort of be packing sort of a bigger punch, very significant energetic impact probably coming through with this full moon. And we also have a lot of exact aspects playing out in congruence with our full moon energy as well, which are telling us a lot. So all of that being said, with the understanding that we are halfway through a new moon cycle right now that is, on one hand, action oriented and about things happening, but on another hand about, the action or what is happening having a lot to do with the birth of a brand new cycle of growth and development, okay, because of the nodes having changed signs in simultaneousness to the new moon. So this action oriented cycle is actually starting a new phase of growth and development, some new lessons that we're going to be learning throughout the course of the next year and a half, because it is dealing with the nodes of the moon. The nodes of the moon, north node, this has to do with destiny, the destiny point, and the south node, this has to do with karma and loss and what we're releasing, what we're detaching ourselves from. So there's a new, path of evolution that we are walking over the next year and a half, and it is likely to sort of be coming into fruition through this full moon process over this next couple of weeks. And themes that have been coming up, starting maybe 2 weeks ago with the new moon in Cancer, or that are really sort of becoming prominent in our experience now, are likely to be somehow involved in whatever we're learning, whatever we're doing, whatever or whoever we're becoming over the course of this next year and a half. So, as this new natal transit of the nodes unfolds. So, and things have been intense, okay? We also had this grand cross in cardinal signs that was coming in, and that was because the sun opposed Pluto, and then we had the nodes of the moon all at the very, very last degrees of these cardinal signs. Another indication of a major transformation and turning point energy in the context. Also, another major theme about this whole thing is, like I said, with the nodes of the moon now in Aries and Libra, it's like, how have I defined myself in the past as a result of the ideas or the opinions or the influence of others, and how has that taken me off track in terms of my own sort of like personal destiny, my own personal truth, my own personal identity, and me really being able to come into like a true expression of myself and fulfill whatever destiny perhaps I have been gifted with in this lifetime. This is about helping us to go through a process of self-actualization. Of course, you guys know on this channel, not only are we analyzing and looking at the astrology as it's coming through and how it might be impacting us on the day-to-day basis, but we are also looking at that in the context of this grand unfolding cosmic blueprint that is currently transitioning us into the age of Aquarius. So, keeping our mind and an eye on as this energy is unfolding, as we're going through these experiences associated with these transits, how are they actually playing a larger role in making fundamental changes to our energy bodies and to our level of conscious awareness that are over time gradually adjusting our frequency so that we are more resonating with and more in alignment with these incoming frequencies of the age of Aquarius. And as above, so below, microcosm, macrocosm, that is how we play our role physically in creating this shift of ages happen as well. We become a vessel for the shifting frequency as we shift our own frequency in alignment with these aspects and these transits as they're coming into fruition. And through that process, ripple effect, we essentially become the anchors of this new frequency in our reality. And one by one, the more of us do this, the more this is extrapolated, come another 500 years or so, that is the base frequency, and our whole reality looks a lot different. So this is a very important process that we are immersed in right now. And as if you guys watched, if you're watching this video, I also recommend, if you missed it, to watch my new moon in Cancer video also, because this is the halfway point in the energy that was present for that new moon. So if you know what that imprint of our new moon in Cancer cycle was looking like, you will have a better understanding of how the energy coming in now is actually like what it means, how it's functioning, and how it's assisting this unfolding energy that was initiated then. So all of that being said, you guys, baseline of this full moon, I personally think it has everything to do with giving us a very elevated perspective and a very keen eye and level of awareness of perhaps what is wrong in various domains and areas of our experience, and more importantly, how to fix it. We are going to be given, like I said, kind of like a keen and critical eye. And we may really be noticing some things that are glaring at us that we feel like are just, something's not working, something's out of alignment, something's really bothering me, something can't go on. And we're going to be able to see, where that problem is stemming from. And like I said, then more importantly, we're actually being given a big dose of energy, okay, to be able to fix it, motivation, courage, strength, and also like the bird's eye view perspective, the elevated perspective of what we need to do, what actions we need to take to fix whatever it is we are realizing is like getting under our skin or is bothering us, or that cannot go on, that cannot persist, or that is just like out of alignment, like I said, or out of order, or that we also, you know, maybe where we have also been lacking responsibility, or where we have been sort of like not doing our best, and how that has been sabotaging our progress, or where we maybe need to get more organized or get more healthy as well. All of these major themes coming through with this full moon that we're going to be talking all about. And this is the period of time, you guys, where we need to get our ducks in a row, and whatever it is that we are working on to fix a problem, to better ourselves, to do something right, to do something better, this is going to be supported. So we actually, like, this is a very blessed, very productive full moon energy that we have coming in. And yes, on one hand, it may be showing us sort of the downside of things, but it's also providing solutions, and it's also providing the energy to implement those solutions to put ourselves in a better place. This energy is very much trying to help us like harden ourselves in one way or another, make ourselves better, or set ourselves up for success in one realm of our experience as it's unfolding over the rest of this year. So all of that being said, some more basics about this full moon. It is happening at 2:31 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, the moon will be in the sign of Aquarius, whereas the sun is in the sign of Leo. That is what is giving us our opposition. That is what is giving us our full moon. The exact to the minute degree placement for this full moon, 9 degrees, 15 minutes of Leo in Aquarius. In terms of the Sabian symbol placement, we will be looking at 10 degrees of the sign of Leo, 10 degrees of the sign Aquarius for the full moon opposition, because when we look at the Sabian symbols, we round up a degree because we look at the wave of energy as it's coming in, not the wave that is like going out and beginning to break apart and dissipate. And for those of you who are new to my channel, what the Sabian symbols are is they are a group of symbols that describe each and every one of the 360 degrees of the zodiac. And whenever there's a planet at a specific degree making an aspect, we can look at the Sabian symbol. It just gives us more information that we can use as like an overlay in terms of whatever is playing out with that aspect or that transit. And you guys know I love the symbolism, all about the symbolism. So I really like to use that as just another way to read the universal blueprint, see what's going on. So we're going to be talking about some Sabian symbols in association with this chart today as well. But again, it is all about like seeing, like recognizing the patterns from the past, figuring out the flaws in those patterns, and having the vision to know what to do to fix them, and then having the assertiveness and the motivation and the energy to take the action, to make the adjustments, to make things better for us somehow, to set ourselves up for success moving forward in some capacity. So that is what I'm saying basically as a summary of the energy. Now let's get in and talk more specifically about the aspects as they're playing out. As I said, you know, this 10 degrees of Leo in Aquarius, this is the polarity degree of where this full moon is happening. We also currently right now have Jupiter at 14 degrees of the sign of Taurus. Leo and Aquarius fixed signs, Taurus and Scorpio also fixed signs. And so we have a 4-degree orb, which is a pretty close, tight orb. It's not exact, you know what I mean? It's not like the strongest influence ever, but 4-degree orb, 10 degrees for the full moon, 14 degrees, Jupiter in square. This is going to expand energy levels, okay? Like I said, we're already talking about a full moon, which is the energetic high point of the month. A full moon in a square to Jupiter, this is like expanding, blowing up these energy levels even more. So expect people to be, you know, having some big feelings about things. And again, like Jupiter is playing a pretty like influential role in this full moon. Jupiter is the great benefic. Even by square, Jupiter brings blessings. Jupiter has a tendency of bringing, you know, good luck and just like fortunate occurrences, positive mindset. People should be generally feeling pretty optimistic about stuff. And again, it is giving us this vision, this bird's eye view perspective, and ability to, you know, see the truth about things maybe, or to just see things from a higher perspective. Now, we do need to, you know, as we get into this energy, and it is going to be, you know, we are going to be talking about a lot of positive things that are likely to be going on with this full moon, but we also need to understand some some of the extravagances that can sometimes be associated with the Jupiterian energy, because we just don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot sort of by taking things too over the top. So we don't want to allow ourselves to sort of get out of control, okay? And we want to be careful with like self-aggrandizing, like being like overly confident in things or ourselves or our situations, or being, you know, overly egotistical about stuff. Like we just, you know, want to maintain a level of moderation in terms of how we're feeling, in terms of how we're acting, especially in terms of how we're behaving, and conducting ourselves with this very big, excessive Jupiterian influence. Because the only downside of the Jupiter energy is it can have a tendency of causing things maybe to get a little bit carried away, again, get a little bit wrapped up in ourselves, like get a little bit full of ourselves, which can, of course, have like a negative backlash to it. So we don't want to get so overly inflated in whatever we have going on that we neglect to see also like some of the details. Another, you know, kind of downside when there's a lot of Jupiter energy is there can be a tendency to overlook like the smaller things, like the smaller details, like the, you know, the day-to-day or the ins and outs, and like what exactly is happening like minutely on the ground. And of course that it can cause us to be a little bit sloppy and stuff like that as well. So we want to keep in mind, you know, those things. But other than that, as long as we can sort of like keep ourselves under control to a level, which, although, you know, I am stating these downsides to the Jupiter energy, we also have a very strong Saturn influence that is going on. And this is also a full moon in Aquarius, which is ruled by, on one hand, Saturn, on the other hand, Uranus. Saturn and Uranus are also both wrapped up in some of the aspects going on with our full moon as well. And we actually, the next thing we're going to talk about is an exact Mercury-Saturn opposition coming into alignment as the full moon plays out. So while Jupiter may generally have a tendency to make us, you know, neglect to see the fine print and the details and things and stuff like that when we have too much Jupiter energy going on, because we also have a Mercury-Saturn opposition, I don't feel like this is necessarily going to be so much of an issue, because that is exactly what Saturn and Mercury, when they're like in any type of an alignment together, do, is they cause us to like be like very narrow-minded and like focused on like the small details and to like see things with a very critical lens. So I do feel like there is some mitigation factor to the potential for excessive Jupiter energy to perhaps have us get like a bit carried away, or, you know, just hovering off the ground a little bit, because we have such a strong Saturn influence as well. All in all, even though, you know, we've got a lot of aspects going on, they are balancing each other to some extent. This Jupiter energy is doing a lot of good things for us in the context of this full moon. Jupiter is connected actually to both Mercury and to Saturn in their opposition, as well as being in a square to the new moon. And another aspect that we have going on exact with this full moon is a exact trine from Jupiter to Mars, which is something that I've been talking about. I was talking about in our energy for last week. We've been building into this energy, and this is another one that just takes energy way over the top. We have three separate, the presence of Jupiter for this full moon, like I said, is excessive, and it is creating a full moon that is just likely to be real lit. Like, this is probably one of the most energized points of this year. So, you know, if there's something that you need to get done, if there's something that you've been procrastinating, if there's something that you've been sort of putting off because of the amount of like energy that has to go in or the amount of work that it requires, this is the time when you want to get it done. So let's talk specifically for a minute about the dynamic of, well, first of all, let me say the aspects that we are looking at, that we are talking about alongside this full moon that we have going on. As I said, the full moon itself is in a square to Jupiter, which is expanding energy, which is giving us a higher perspective, which is bringing a level of truth and revelations alongside of the full moon. But we also have Mercury exactly opposite Saturn. We have Mars exactly trine Jupiter. And we also have still an exact T-square that is playing out between the nodes of the moon in Aries and Libra now, and Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. They have all, the nodes have changed degrees, and Pluto has retrograded degree as well. So they are still all in exact alignment. And then we also have Venus retrograde playing a pretty significant role right now as well, coming into a relative square with Uranus, who is another ruler of this cycle. So we're going to be talking about all of these aspects today, but they are sort of all playing into each other. And again, the themes and the patterns, the energetic patterns and themes that this is going to continue to come back to is a need to find out what hasn't been working, whether it be people, places, things, routines, habits, behaviors, it doesn't matter. Find out, being able to see, again, through this more critical lens, what is not working for us, what needs to go, what needs to be released, what we sort of need to transition out of right now, and having the energy, the courage, the strength, the motivation, the willpower to actually go ahead and start to make these changes to make these things happen. But let's get into the aspects. Let's start talking about the aspects. Mercury in an exact opposition to Saturn. Remember, Saturn is a ruler of Aquarius, so this is pretty significant, and this is happening in mutable signs. Mercury is at 6 degrees of the sign of Virgo, and Saturn is currently at 6 degrees of the sign of Pisces. So we're talking, first of all, we have to keep in mind the Virgo Pisces themes. There's going to be a lot going on, with this full moon, carrying through the rest of the month of August, through the rest of the summer, and into Virgo season probably as well, having to do with health and healing, lifestyle routines, diet, nutrition, where we've been neglecting our health or our general well-being in any type of a way, and what we need to do now, we're feeling inspired to do now, what we're feeling motivated to do now to sort of get ourselves back on track. Where have we been neglecting our health? That's probably a big one that's going to be coming up. Also, organization. Where have we been sloppy? Where have we been sort of, allowing ourselves to get out of alignment in some type of way? And how can we get more organized? Also, body, lifestyle, schedules, routines, nutrition, finances as well, getting things in order, being more responsible, taking better care of ourselves when we have this Virgo Pisces polarity going on, Mercury Saturn. Now, in terms of the Mercury-Saturn influence on its own, this does, as I said, narrow our vision into things. It can make us feel a lot more pessimistic. However, with the strong Jupiter influence, this is not going to be as much of an issue. And this is why I keep saying, I feel like this is about helping us to see sort of like the errors in our ways, or the flaws in our own systems, or, where things haven't been working. But it's not like, I don't feel we're falling into sort of like a woe is me depression about it. More so, we're like, oh my gosh, I've figured it out. I've gained clarity. I'm understanding what the problem is now. And instead of continuing to neglect this issue, I am going to take charge of the situation, and I'm going to put some big energy into doing what I need to do to fix it. And the Jupiter influence with Mars is giving us the vision also to be able to see what needs to be done, to take the action to successfully implement the remedy, right, in the sign of Virgo. So, the opposition between Mercury and Saturn, this is a fleeting aspect. Mercury moves quickly, so unless Mercury is stationing to go retrograde in opposition to Saturn, this is not an energy that is really going to be with us for long periods of time. It's more like a window opens and we have an opportunity to deal with this energy. And what this energy does is it helps us to see things more critically. It helps us to see the minute stuff that maybe is off. It helps us to see what is out of alignment, and it helps us to just be more judgmental and just more focused on what needs to be fixed, what is wrong. It helps us to see what is wrong, but then we're not just seeing what is wrong and sort of because of the rest of the energy that's playing out. It's not like we're seeing what is wrong and just sort of stewing in it, okay? Going round and round about it. It's very interesting. The position of Mercury, the Sabian symbol of Mercury for this opposition with Saturn, it's 6 degrees of Virgo, that Sabian symbol actually is a merry-go-round. So it's like we are having the opportunity to see where we've been riding the merry-go-round, where we've been doing the same thing over and over and over again, and, you know, how perhaps that has been causing an issue for us in some area or capacity of our lives. And then when we have this Jupiter influence coming in, it's helping us to see, in the Mars influence as well, Mars and Jupiter in exact trine, it's helping us to see what needs to be done to get off this merry-go-round and to change the way, the course, the trajectory that things have been going, to switch things up, to break the cycle. This is also a very, very cycle-breaking energy that we have coming in, which, going back to the beginning, how I started this report talking about where we're at midpoint of this Cancer cycle, which was this turning point energy, which was introducing this new 1.5 year phase of growth that we're going on right now, and really, you know, transitioning us out of some past ways of being in some big ways. Again, like, it's all over the frequency and the vibration coming through and the impact that this full moon itself is going to have. So we are being given the opportunity, as I've said, to sort of go through our lives with a fine-tooth comb, figure out what is off balance, what is out of alignment, what is not working, what is broken, what is, you know, detrimental to us, or, you know, what cycles of behavior have we been engaged in that are not, you know, getting us the results that we want, getting off that merry-go-round and deciding, or seeing, or having the energy, or getting the inspiration, or, you know, something hitting us like an epiphany. Okay, like, this is the change that I need to make, and I do have the energy to implement that now. Mars and Jupiter also in an exact trine. Mercury and Saturn, exact trine. Mars and Jupiter, or exact opposition. Mars and Jupiter, exact trine. This energy is happening in earth signs. So, you know, whereas we had the Mercury-Saturn opposition in mutable signs are also about transitioning out of something, changing something, adjusting something, adapting to something. So, like, what are we transitioning out of that we are coming to discover has been causing an issue? And then we move into Mars and Jupiter in their trine with each other in earth signs. We have energy going on in earth signs, you guys. This is like stuff that is like actually tangibly happening on the ground. There is a 3D impact. There is something that is like playing out in the physical reality. Mars and Jupiter coming to the trine. First of all, Mars and Jupiter in any sign coming into a trine, this is basically some of the best energy in all of astrology that there is for accomplishing anything. Anything that we put our energy towards, any way that we act, even, you know, taking risks, like, there is no more supportive energy for positive outcome, or no more supportive energy for positive outcomes coming from the risks that we take and the initiatives that we take, and, you know, the way that we are using our energy when this energy is present. So it's the best energy for accomplishing anything, and that's one reason why I'm so optimistic about this full moon, because even though we're being, you know, given the window simultaneously to see what the problem is, we also are giving the opportunity to be able to accomplish anything once we've discovered what it is that needs to be fixed. So we have a keen eye for what's not working, and the energy and the vision for what it takes to improve that condition and to actually make it happen. We're doing it now. We're taking action in this cardinal cycle. So Jupiter, not only in the trine to Mars, which is very supportive of how we're using our energy, but Jupiter's also supporting Mercury. Like I said, Jupiter is in Taurus, Mercury is in Virgo. Mercury is actually also moving towards a conjunction with Mars in the sign of Virgo as well. We have both Mercury and Mars in the sign of Virgo. So while Mercury is in the opposition to Saturn, it's happening from the same sign that Mars is receiving the trine to Jupiter from. So it's this Virgo energy. That's why I'm saying it's like our lifestyle, it's our habits, our behaviors, our health. It's what we're learning also. It's our organization, it's our schedules, it's our routines, like it's our diet, it's our nutrition, it's how we're using our energy, and it's like the level of awareness that we are gaining in terms of maybe how we've been neglecting our body, or how we've been neglecting our schedules, our routines, or our habits, or like what we're really needing right now to get ourselves back on track. So everything, this energy is working together to support us in bettering ourselves in one area of our lives or another. So as I said, where this Mercury Saturn energy could normally be sort of like this just downer, this more pessimistic vibe, we do still have that, but it's like, I'm not choosing to dwell in the victimhood of the situation or feel bad for myself or, to woe is me while this energy passes. Instead, I can see the issue, I see the problem, and I'm choosing to do something to change it. I'm choosing to act, I'm choosing to remedy or solve the situation for myself in some capacity. So we have the motivation to act in ways that will be successful and supportive in terms of making necessary improvements to whatever is coming up for us and that may just not be working, that we're realizing in this energy. It's also bringing, I feel like, a sense of clarity and common sense that may be breaking down perhaps maybe some long-standing illusions that we've been operating in about something, or things that have seemed intangible or inconceivable or like incoherent to us, maybe like places where we've experienced a level of cognitive confusion in the past as well. Maybe we're like, it's like clicking, or things are clearing up for us, or like the fog is lifting as this energy comes through in some type of way as well. Or, as I said, this also could be us coming to understand a level of our own negligence and carelessness in some capacity of our lives as well that maybe we've been engaged in, and how that has been working against us or our needs, and how that maybe also needs to be remedied at this point in time. So this is a very significant opportunity that we have coming to fruition with this full moon right now, halfway through this Cancer cycle, to sort of do a life review with this critical eye, make the necessary lifestyle changes that support our personal growth and well-being right now. Because remember, we are being called towards a leadership era in our experience right now. That is how energy is coming together for us. That is with the North Node in Aries right now. Like, we have a mission that we need to complete over this next year and a half. It's a personal mission. It's a independent mission. It has a lot to do with our character development and our own sense of self-mastery over some circumstances or some area of our life, overcoming some weaknesses within us, gaining a greater sense of self-confidence in some way, and really going through like a personal re-identification or like lifestyle makeover or new way of relating to ourselves in some type of a way, and learning to stand on our own 2 feet more. And again, learning to be more self-directing and to organize our lives less around the social norms, cultural expectations, societal, community-based ideas and systems maybe that we were associated in the past, learning to branch out on our own. And it's also a journey in us collectively as well, learning to love people for who they are and not like what they do for us, okay? Because a lot of the flip side of this lesson that we're going to have to learn has a lot to do with learning to be okay with other people maybe not conforming to like how we think that things should be done, and realizing that the choices that maybe are best for me are not necessarily what is best for somebody else. And not needing somebody to do everything that we do the way that we do it, and think the way that we think, and live the way that we live, in order to still like love that person for who they are and support what is best for them, even if that is different than what is best for us, and even if that means that there will have to be a shift in the relationship from perhaps how it's always been. There is a lot of shifting relationship dynamics that must come into effect over this next year and a half in order for us all to sort of fulfill the mission that is presented whenever we have a North Node transiting the sign of Aries, and we're being called into this leadership era of our lives because we've got something, for whatever reason, at this point in time that needs to be accomplished. And of course, I'm sure right now it has a lot to do with this frequency-based shift and transition into the age of Aquarius, and playing our personal role in that process at this point in time. So, this is a full moon that is about helping us to awaken to our authentic and individual needs of our heart and our soul. We're talking about Leo in Aquarius. Leo, this is a sign of, the heart, like truly the sign of the heart. And then Aquarius, this is the sign about destiny and the future, and becoming, everything that we've been meant to become. So this is giving us an expanded awareness with all this Jupiter energy into the truth of our heart and our soul, what we really truly need to feel alive with this Leo sun focused energy, helping us to discern as well whether or not our ideals and our past ideals and the beliefs that we have been, conditioned to align ourselves with are truly in alignment with what it is that we really love and what it is that we truly value and what it is that we truly prioritize and who it is that we truly, are discovering ourselves to be and to be becoming at this point in time. And how can I become better? And how can I become smarter? And how can I become healthier and more effective and more efficient and more organized and more productive? And how can I, get more of a fulfilling experience out of my life? And how can I just be more ultimately, like I said, successful, productive, refined as well? There's a lot of refinement energy when we're talking about Virgo. How can I set up better systems that require less of an energetic input on my part? But it's like efficiency over excess. This is like quality over quantity energy as well. So those are also things that we may sort of be toying with inside of our minds at this point in time. Like, how can I run my systems or my operations better? Like, how can I streamline things to get a more efficient and productive result that requires less of an energy output? Pretty much everything that we do or initiate right now also has the potential of being very successful, as I've said, with this massively supportive Jupiterian influence that is coming in right now. Also, though, we have to say, people operating and interacting with the lower dimensions and frequencies of this energy there could be a lot of excessive like rage. People could really just be, again, getting very carried away, totally like more kind of like manic behavior could be going on. And we want to watch, again, the tendency perhaps towards arrogance, self-aggrandizement, or just being like overly egotistical about stuff like that. But as long as we keep that in mind, as long as we keep ourselves in check to some extent, which, like I said, again, this Mercury-Saturn opposition, I feel like is going to be doing that for us kind of naturally, inherently in and of itself anyways. Things should go quite well. We should be riding pretty high, feeling pretty positive and optimistic about things. The last aspect that I want to talk about is this Venus retrograde in the square to Uranus, which is the other ruler of the sign of Aquarius. We have Venus retrograde at 27 Leo, and we have Uranus at 23 Taurus. So that's a 4-degree orb separation as well, but still like pretty prominent. Venus retrograde sort of very activated for this full moon, and we're going to be doing a lot of scrutinizing, you guys, about our relationships. Also like financial things like that we want to be committed with or involved with. There could be some like deals or negotiations or relationships from the past that are coming back around that are like relevant to us in some type of a way that maybe we are questioning whether we want to continue to be involved with or not, reevaluating relationships, values, tastes, preferences, desires, priorities, all of these Venus themes with Venus going retrograde, trying to figure out what it is that I truly want. And this square to Uranus, Uranus brings sudden, unexpected surprises, shocks, upsets, changes. In the square, this is, out of nowhere, this is tension, sudden changes in relationships, cutting people off out of nowhere, and also, though, gaining closure from past relationships, dealing with unfinished business, and putting things right. This could also be putting things right from the past in some type of way, things that have been unjust or unbalanced or unfinished or unharmonious in some type of a way. This could also very much be this energy coming through to sort of help us once and for all move on from something or separate ourselves from something. Could have a special relevance during this time as well. So just as we are in this new moon cycle in Cancer that was all about this climactic turning point and these new beginnings, this new phase of life, experience, and growth, the full moon is very much talking about rebirth, very much talking about these same themes as well. Fresh starts, a whole new day, and the activation of this life force energy within us, which is sort of driving this verbatim coming through in terms of the symbolism. Actually, the aspects that are playing out are speaking tremendously about these themes being activated. However, the symbolism is sort of blowing my mind along these same lines as well, because we have the sun for our full moon in Aquarius at 10 degrees of the sign of Leo. That Sabian symbol is early morning dew, salutes the sunlight. So this is obviously an emphasis on those first rays of light that are coming in the morning, and, you know, a fresh day as it's beginning being emphasized. And then Venus retrograde, the position of Venus retrograde in the square to Uranus, that Sabian symbol is daybreak, the luminescence of dawn on the eastern sky and the eastern horizon, as we also have the North Node having just moved into the sign of Aries, talking about this brand new fresh start, rebirth energy. So we have two symbols talking about early morning dew salutes the sunlight. This is like a brand new day, right? The return of the light, and literal daybreak, the luminescence of dawn coming through on the eastern sky. So of course, this is indicating fresh starts, a new like burst of life force energy, the dawning of a new day, the dawning of a new era that is upon us. And this is all about the sun. This is the light. This is the life force coming through. And then also the position of the moon and the earth, okay, which are in alignment. Whenever we have a full moon going on, the earth is always in an opposition with the sun, but the moon is in an opposition with the sun when we have the full moon. So the earth and the moon are in an alignment. And that Sabian symbol, 10 degrees of Aquarius, listen to this. This is very interesting, especially in the context of our south node in the sign of Libra right now, all about breaking cycles from the past, ways of being and socializing and relating with others. A man who had for a time become the embodiment of an ideal is made to realize that as a person, he is not that ideal. So while we're talking about, you know, daybreak, new life force energy, rebirth energy, we are also talking about essentially like realizing maybe what we had been idealizing in the past, or what we had seen as the ideal and what we should, you know, work to become in the past. Maybe we are realizing that that actually is not where the gold is. Maybe that is not truly what we value. Maybe that is not truly who we really are, or in alignment with anything that is really like feeding us on that soul-based level that is making us feel alive. And maybe this new spark that is coming in right now with this full moon energy, with this Cancer cycle, maybe that is what it is waking us up to, where we've been essentially like starving our own life force energy by the ideals that we had been striving for, which maybe were never our own to begin with. Okay, so significant themes coming through. Like I said, we also have Mercury 6 degrees of the sign of Virgo. That Sabian symbol is a merry-go-round, and we have Mars at an interesting degree as well in the context of all of this, a family tree at 14 degrees of the sign of Virgo. Again, both in the sign of Virgo. So to me, a merry-go-round and a family tree with the south node in the sign of Libra. Now listen to this, the position of the south node right now, the Sabian symbol of that degree is mankind's vast enduring quest for knowledge, transferable from generation to generation. I feel like there is just so much wrapped up in this symbolism that is talking about breaking these cycles, seeing the light, getting the, you know, the spark coming through, having maybe the awakening moment, or coming to realize something, or recognizing the truth, seeing the pattern, realizing that we've been on this merry-go-round and maybe it's been going on for generations, but coming to the point, you guys, where it is time to get off. The position of the south node. The south node is what we are releasing ourselves from. This is what we are moving away from. This is what is associated with the losses that we are experiencing right now. Mankind's vast enduring effort for knowledge transferable from generation to generation, a family tree where Mars is, a merry-go-round where Mercury is, and then all of this energy about a new day, the sunlight, the fresh breath, the life force, the spark, the new initiation of something, and then also the position of the moon itself, the recognition of perhaps what we were striving for not being that which, you know, is what's truly in our heart anyways. All of these things in combination, and then the position of the North Node as well. I want to say this, that position of the North Node right now, the degree associated with that, the symbolic degree, is the music of the spheres. Okay. And to me, this is talking about the cosmic blueprint, the universal symphony that is orchestrating all of the conscious evolution and the change and the expansion in our universe. And the position of Pluto right now as well in the T square with the nodes of the moon, of course, north and the south nodes. They're at 29 degrees of Aries and Libra, and Pluto retrograde at 29 degrees of Capricorn. That Sabian symbol is a woman reading tea leaves. So while we have all this cycle breaking energy, while we are transitioning out of the past, while we are breaking free from the conditioning of the past and, you know, being reinvigorated with our own individuality in a lot of ways and our own life force energy within us sort of coming back online, this is also to me talking about prophecy coming to pass at this moment in the unfolding of everything also, and the release from these generational cycles in correspondence with this cosmic blueprint, with this grand universal symphony as it's being conducted right now as we are transitioning ages into the age of Aquarius. With the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra, we are redefining ourselves out of the influence of perhaps, you know, what has been passed down generation to generation, or I don't necessarily mean that in terms of like skills or information or knowledge. I mean that in terms of subconscious programming and traumas and like where we've self-sabotaged ourselves in the past, and like generational curses and stuff like this. We are coming to a point where it's time, the slates are sort of being wiped clean karmically, and we're being given an opportunity to build some new legacies going forward for our, you know, the family tree, detached from the merry-go-round, detached from what's been passed on an energetic level, perhaps from generation to generation. And here's the thing, I don't mean, you know, if you're in a situation where you come from a family line that is of a very high frequency already, and you are one of the original anchors of this energy coming through in terms of, you know, your ancestors and your origin and what you're coming from, then this does not necessarily apply to you. But this is the energy where we are detaching ourselves from the groups and the association and the group think and the molds that we have formed ourselves within in terms of like other people's expectations and stuff, if they are detached from the truth of our like authentic being and the destiny and the mission of that being in this lifetime, in the context of our transition into the age of Aquarius. So if we are associated with groups or with families or with past situations that are preventing us from activating our internal spiritual warrior, inner warrior, in order to go through this leadership era and, you know, fulfill our mission, whatever it may be at this point in time, then those are the relationships that will go by the wayside. You know, as I'm saying, I'm not like out here preaching to everybody just go like cut themselves off from their friends and family. That's not what I'm talking about. And you will know, you know, you will know the people in your life that are supportive of you coming into your leadership era and of you achieving, you know, a greater form and version of relationship with yourself. The people who are meant to be in your life will be supportive of that process. Anybody who is not supportive of that process, but claims to be a supportive influence and a loving influence in your life, you will come to discover over this 1.5 year period of time that perhaps you have been operating under some type of an illusion in regards to those relationships, and regardless of how long maybe they have been withstanding, maybe now is the time to release ourselves from those relationships in order to be able to receive truly supportive connections, relationships, partnerships going forward that will promote our ability to activate our destiny, to live our purpose, to come into this better form and better version of ourselves that will provide this much greater, more fulfilling experience of life going forward. So that's what I'm talking about, you guys. I don't think that we should just be out here taking like wrecking balls to our relationships, but I think that things are going to happen to show us the truth about a lot of relationships, and we will inherently at this point in time, or over this point in period of time, the next 1.5 years, come to find that those relationships, again, that are not truly supportive of us, genuinely end of story, like period, the end, and there, you know, and it's about us being able to do that, to reciprocate that energy as well. Like, we're also probably going to have to learn some lessons ourselves of, you know, what we need to let go of in terms of other people, or where we need to release control over situations and stuff having to do with other people as well, and do a lot more minding our own business. That's a lesson that we're all going to really have to get comfortable with over this period of time as well, is becoming more self-focused and minding our own business, and not making such an effort to control other people in our lives in order to like make ourselves feel better. So it's a double-edged sword, right? There's two sides to the coin, but ultimately it's about helping us to become the best version of ourselves, so that we can then do a much better version of ourselves in terms of being a good friend, being a good, you know, sibling or parent, or, you know, daughter or son, or being a good teacher, or being a good community member. We are strengthening ourselves so that we can actually strengthen our social relationships in our communities going forward. But we can't, there's no point in fixing something that is gone, you know what I mean? Or that is not what we actually, that is an illusion, or that is like that we've been misunderstanding somehow. So that's what all this is about, you guys. I feel like that is a lot about what this full moon is about. And we are encouraged and we are supported to see the errors of our ways and to make constructive, productive, successful changes to promote our overall ability to be productive, to be successful, to refine ourselves, and ultimately remember, like, it's not a selfish process when we are turning our energy inwards to make ourselves better, so that we can do actually a better job of serving and playing the various roles in our lives. So we need to keep that in mind. Of course, this is also energy that is urging us to be more responsible and to take our duties more seriously and to be more committed. It's not energy where we are just going on this like rampage of like, you know, selfishness and neglecting everything that we are supposed to care for and tend for. That is actually quite the opposite of this energy. When I talk about this energy being self-directed and, you know, we need to focus on ourselves, again, it is the commitment and to ourselves and to our duties and to our responsibilities, and, you know, turning that energy inward and, you know, being more self-involved, I guess, in those ways. As this energy is coming through, it actually, you know, as I was saying, should strengthen our ability to follow through in our commitments, to fulfill our responsibilities, to fulfill our duties in a way that is actually better than maybe how we had been doing it in the past. And again, we may come to see where we have not been doing things as good as we could be doing them, and this is sort of what gives us the kick, you know, that maybe we needed to change our ways and to do a better job of things generally. So that's where we're at. I feel like that's where, that's what is coming through for us in this energy. I think, it's a very, very positive and productive period of time right now. I feel like this is a very blessed period of time. I think, you know, as we move into the rest of the summer, as we move into August, as we move into Virgo season, like I said, I do feel like there is, we've got a Mars-Neptune opposition coming up. There is a need to harden ourselves right now, you guys, and I think that's another reason why we're being sort of gifted with this energy right now. This is the time to do what is necessary to get your health in order, to get your lifestyle in order, to get your routines in order, to get you know, again, like breaking any of those habits that have been maybe keeping our lives cluttered or keeping our mind cluttered or keeping us in a state of confusion or like not really knowing what to do. This is a time to get our ducks in a row, to get organized, to get scheduled, to make strategies, to make plans, because coming up here in the end of August, you know, moving into September, Virgo season, Mars is going to be coming into an opposition with Neptune. This can have a tendency of weakening our immune system, okay? Weakening our personal defenses, making us more susceptible to things. So anything that we can do to build our immune system, to, like I said, harden our systems, take care of ourselves, just up our, you know, defenses, perhaps, in ways at this period of time on a physical level, being more organized, being more diligent, strategizing things, being more scheduled, having things in order. It's going to benefit us when we start moving more through the summer towards the end of August into September, and we deal with some of these issues that will be coming up then. So that's what I have to say, you guys, about the astrology for our full moon. Let's grab a synchronicity card now. God, Spirit, Universe, what can benefit us to know about the energy? What should we keep in mind as this moon plays out? Now we got one card coming out. It says yes. So if there is something, you know, maybe that you have been pondering about in this moment, maybe you needed to hear maybe you needed a yes on something. So we've got that. Now let's see if there is some additional guidance. Okay. It says persist. Exactly. We need to keep going. Like, this is the time, you guys. This is the time to act one foot in front of the other. We are being supported right now. This is not the energy that we began this cycle with. When we came in with this new moon in Cancer, when we had that Grand Cardinal Cross going on, that was the resistance. That was the obstruction. That was the challenge. That was not the time to act. That was when everything was happening at once and it was basically impossible to keep our head on straight. This energy, this full moon, halfway through that cycle, we are now being supported in moving forward and making things happen, and we should take advantage of that. Persist. Because of his persistence, ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and it will be opened to you. Luke 8-9. Jupiter is supporting us and is helping things to go in our favor at this time. Nothing is too large or too small, and your persistence in believing in God's ability to provide whatever it is you seek will bring you to your goal. Persistence, waiting, patience, and never failing faith will lead you to your goal. Again, that I appreciate this because that is a little bit of stuff I missed along the lines of the Mercury-Saturn. That is true. Patience, persistence, keeping going even though we might feel like things are a bit stacked against us, like the ability to see the light at the end of the tunnel and to just keep plugging forward, keep moving forward, never failing faith. Saturn retrograde in the sign of Pisces, all about our faith, not giving up and believing that we are being supported and moving towards our goals right now. And again, making the necessary changes to make adjustments to what we are realizing is off or is out of alignment right now. And as I said this a couple days ago, anything to do with like chiropractic or acupuncture, the energy flow through our body and the alignment of our vertebrae and our spine and stuff like that, this is a good time to undergo like those type of physical remedies. Okay. Acupuncture, also like alternative medicine and stuff like that with this Virgo vibe, herbs, supplements. Like I said, again, back to the diet, nutrition, all the same themes coming back around. But if your back's been bothering you or if you feel like things are out of alignment, a chiropractic adjustment could genuinely, on both an energetic level and a physical level, be something that really supports your well-being and whatever transitional process you're going through right now. So wanted to put that out there as well because chiropractic has a lot to do with the Virgo energy. Okay, so there's that. Anyways, that's what I have to say today, you guys. That was the full moon, the way that I see it coming through, in my opinion, what Aubrey thinks. So thank you guys so much for being here. I hope that you liked this video. If you did like it, please give me a thumbs up, you guys. Subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button. It actually really helps my channel grow when you guys do that because it helps me like get better in the algorithm and get in front of new people who don't normally see my channel. So definitely appreciate you guys for that. Also, if you're having experiences with what is, you know, like experiences in alignment with the things that I'm talking about as this energy is playing out, please let me know in the comment section below. I really value your feedback, knowing what you guys have going on, and I love you guys so much. So thank you so much. And, you know, like I said, comment section below if you are experiencing things that are in alignment with what I'm talking about. These whiteboards, I have a Facebook group, a Facebook page, and an Instagram, but I post, and those are in my description box below, but I post these whiteboards in my Facebook group if you want to know what that says exactly. And come back with me next time, you guys. On Wednesday, I'm going to put out my August video. I actually didn't realize when I went to start filming today that I don't know, I hadn't done my August overview yet, so I didn't realize that August 1st was bringing in our full moon in Aquarius, so I had to switch it up. I was going to do the overview first, but no, I had to do it this way. So you're going to get the August overview out on Wednesday, and then I will be back on Friday, and we will recap the week, look at the weekend, and wrap things up moving through the first week of August. So that's what I have to say today, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Come back with me next time. You definitely want to know what's going on in the month of August. It's going to be another important month, and I will be here to talk about it. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. I will see you then, guys. Have a beautiful full moon, and until next time, bye guys.